I hope we don't get a thunderstorm in the next hour. You know, it looks pretty gray. After a beautiful day here, yesterday and today, spring is starting.
Mhm.
It's suddenly 24 degrees, you know. But now they say next week it's coming ice time again because the wind changed from south to North Pole, and from North Pole is still kind of fresh air coming, so we even can get snow again, you know. And
Ah,
I haven't seen snow since November. So.
it's the opposite from here then.
Huh?
It's the opposite from here. We
Yeah,
just got snow and now it's going away.
yeah. Well, let's see what happens. You know, I don't give a shit actually. Inside is dry and warm, and
We still have snow on the mountains here in California.
yeah.
Wow.
How is it?
Beautiful.
But tell me one more time, Maharaj, where in California are you? I forgot.
I'm in Ventura County,
Ventura. Okay.
and
That's good.
yeah, we're one county north of Los Angeles County.
Yes. I know Ventura. I've been
We
hanging.
have beautiful beaches that nobody wants anyone else to know about. So we
Very,
keep it to ourselves.
very good.
Um, Lots of surfing. We're 1 hour from snowboarding.
Wow.
I'm 10 minutes from the beach for surfing. Yeah, so it's one of the few places you can go skiing, surfing, and skateboarding all in the same day.
This skiing and this kind of story, it sounds horrible. But anyway, all the other programs I can join.
The sea traveling.
I hate winter. No, it can be nice, only with the friends in a log cabin with a big fire inside, some pipe to smoke, and good conversation.
Well, even our winter, they make the snow, so it's fake snow. So it's still warm, but you can ski in a t-shirt. It's kind of crazy.
Anyway, I have many friends from Switzerland, and they are also into this kind of stuff. And, I always stay nicely in the pub with shumli flumli, you know, with how you call that, the plum schnapps. Better to have a couple of plum schnapps, the shumli flumli, as the Swiss say, than to stand there on the ski piste with all these nutcake who have pleasure on the ice, you know. Like, I'm not
Well,
built.
surely
I'm not built for that.
the skiing would be close to skidding, like the little billy goat, or
That,
the
that
baby goat or kids
that must
skidding
be
around,
that must
skiing.
be an accident, you know. That must be an accident. These stupid goats who bring all this misery here on the planet.
Shida.
Anyway, ice time finished, nice time starting. I heard that Antarctica is melting like never before. So, and also Greenland. And soon we are not going to have any more glaciers in the Alps. So then we will also be without water here. But maybe we need an alternative before it gets that far.
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, half the population of Europe has to go somewhere else.
You don't think rivers instead?
The rivers are fed by the snow and the glaciers from the Alps in Central Europe. So all South Europe and Middle Europe is depending on that snow and ice that is in France, Switzerland, northern Italy, uh, Austria, and this kind of places. And so all the rivers in Europe are fed from there.
Yes,
So,
but that's storage.
yeah,
It's
no, yeah,
not.
yeah. So of course, as long as rain keeps falling,
Uh,
it will be okay. But this problem is also in South America. I was in Bolivia and Peru, running around, and the people are escaping from the mountain because high up there is no more snow and ice. So all their water reservoir, what they have there, are not being fed by meltwater anymore. So they all have to go down to the coast, no? So this is kind of big problem in many places that we seem to have shortage of water in a bigger part of the planet. And also Holland starts to have less and less water. So by us, when they build new housing areas, you can go in the house, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be connected to the water system. And since we are doing this kind of ridiculous thing with these Russian people there, that the American and the Norwegian have been blowing up this gas pipe. So now everywhere in the middle of Europe and from the north to the south, everybody's freezing their balls off unless you pay a high price for this kind of liquid gas coming from the States for only 3 times the price.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So
we have big.
Huh?
I was just going to say we have big water problems here in California, and the whole thing, we have over 1,000 dams, and then every major river and every tributary coming off of every major river also has a dam. They've dammed off all of the major water sources in the whole west coast of and the whole western part of the United States area, and it's been happening for, I don't know, over 100 years. They've just been damming everything up and stopping the water flowing.
Damn that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, damming, it's about the most stupid thing you can do to a river is to dam it.
Yeah, that's why you have Amsterdam in Holland.
Of course. I mean, you can have dam, which means lady. But when you put dam, when you really block that, that means nothing can come in and nothing can come out when it's dammed. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So of course, when you have these clever people like in the States who are starting, I mean, in Europe we did it also in some places. But when you put one dam, like the one in Egypt, the Aswan Dam, it means that all the small particles that the river is transporting, they become stopped by the dam. So it's the same with this Boulder Dam in the Colorado River. So already in the 70s, 80s, when I was in the States, I was following the Colorado River. And when you come to Baja California, where where the river is coming into the into this gulf between this peninsula and the Mexican coast, there is no water because all the water is used by all this lawnmower in Los Angeles and the swimming pool and this kind of particular vegetable that they grow in the tree, a hazelnut or something, this kind of nut, almonds, and they drink like all the water from the Colorado River. And
I think it's 1 gallon of water for 1 almond.
Yeah, for one, I know this thing. So now yesterday they was presenting a picture of one of the mouths of the Amazon, where is now the same problem, completely one desert, just like in Baja California. So they say it must be climate change, but I think most of the change comes out of the stupidity of the human being. You know, like you
But
can't
that is
read.
climate change.
Huh?
That is climate change.
Yeah, of course the climate is changing, but the
Yeah,
climate
you
is,
have changed the climate.
yeah, we have changed we don't change the climate. I mean, the climate has been changing 50 million years, you know. 50 million, 10,000 and 40 years, we have change of climate. And
What's
before
up
that,
with that word?
huh?
What's up with that word? Climate? Klimat? Klimat?
Kli means when you are cleaning the clitoris, when you are, how you say, rubbing, maybe you could say rubbing, maybe that's not even the word, tickle. I find tickle nicer. It's like,
Yeah, it's tickling. Yeah.
tickling, yeah. So tickling, and maat means food. So if you want to take out magla, you have to tickle your clitoris in order to take out the maat, so that you are full of maat. So I think this lady department might have something to do with the climate. Because it's not about masturbation and taking out sperm, it's about clearing the clitoris and taking out the maat, the magla. Yeah, so we get matar. The matar is the mother of the earth mother. Yeah, so clean art must be something that can be regulated by the involvement of lady when we are going back to one more natural way of accepting the fact that before our immune system on the female side was based on klimaat and on the masculine side based on esperma, son, father, and earth or mother. Yeah. Of course, that's very sad for all these other people who want to give us food. But of course, in the early years, we will need to continue with our agriculture and little bit fishing and maybe chicken bone can also be nice to eat every now and then, you know. But in the long run, maybe we find out that when we go back to this practice of drinking our own sperm and drinking our own magla, that we don't need anymore anything else when we progress in that level as we had before ice time. So, you know, they didn't need anything because they were self-sufficient, self-sufficient. Yeah.
It looks, yes. It looks like kind of a similar meaning in Finnish or in Van for climate. Ilmapuri. Ilmapuri.
That's the climate in a group.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And then ilmasto.
That's the climate in the air.
Yeah.
And ilmanala.
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 Ilmanala. Ala is area. It's like the area of the air.
Alue.
Ala.
Do you say Allah or alue?
Ala can be something that's down underneath. Or then it can be a field, like you can be working on the car field, like with the business, the ala. Or then it can be ala, like an area, depending on the case.
I was more wondering about what Dustin said, if he was talking about Allah or about alue.
Yeah, ilmanala says climate and climb. I don't know what climb means. I mean, it's without the B in English. I don't know.
Let's
Never heard
drop
this
that,
word.
otherwise we create confusion.
Mhm.
But
So
this
clean
ilmapiiri is also something that comes up in missä piirissä liikut. In what company are you moving in?
Yes. Like social circle, social
Yeah.
climate.
That has to do with piiri.
Interesting. Ilma, il would be like human or miracle or something, right?
Ilma is air.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ilma is air, and Ilma is also the title of Ilmarinen and Maya Ilmatar. No? So they are having a very high thing in the name. If we have the king and the queen in the Finnish mythology called Ilmarinen and Ilmatar, and we are talking about klimat, and we are talking about all this kind of thing. So in these names, you can see that in many mythological story, those people who they call the gods, yeah, who are these gudar, yeah, you have only 6 gods, 3 masculine and 3 feminine. Yeah, the 3 masculine are the vruchtbaarheidsgode, the kärleksgode, and the hemelgode. And yeah, so you talk about Lemminkainen, Seppo, and Ukko. And of course the same on the female side. The hemelgudinna is Akka, and the kärleksgode is Maja Ilmatar, and vruchtbaarheidsgode is Suometar, yeah, the swarm. So if you see that this masculine and this feminine, they are representing different aspects on the weather. So if you think about Ukko, yeah, we have Ukko Jyrise.
Lightning or thunder.
Sorry?
I would say the lightning and thunder.
Yes, so the lightning and the thunder, that seems to be some aspect of Ukko. So this lightning and this, let me see. The thunder, it's when he is Jyrise, yeah?
Yeah, that's the boom.
It's the boom.
Has the sound in it.
Yeah, that is this boom or boom shankar. Yeah, so that is this Ukko then in the sky. So that kind of makes me think about these aspects of Uden. So Uden is everything, but Uden is the sun. The sun is one aspect of Uden, yeah, which is this fireball hanging there in the sky, and the second aspect is the thunder, because it's the thunder that brings the fire to the earth out of the atmosphere. Yeah, so it's some kind of atmospheric confusion going on. What makes that we have thunder, which is created by the clouds, so by the vapor of the water. It's the vapor of the water and the clouds beating on each other, what create this kind of electric flash that comes down to the earth. Or it comes from the earth and goes up. It can go two-way even, this kind of electricity system. Yeah. So there you have this Ukko. Now, if you look that this Seppo, he has also something to do with it, because, or actually all of us have something to do with it, because we talk about Thor's hammer. So if you go in other mythologies, it's this Thor who is there throwing his hammer, doing actually that what in the Finnish mythology is related to Ukko, yeah, to the Allfather. So now it looks like from all kind of story when you talk about climate and when you talk about the water has different association. Yeah, so we have the live water when we drink it by ourselves. So it seems to be important for us to be alive that we have been drinking from ourselves. Yeah. And when we drink from ourselves, we are regulating our immune system, our immune system.
Mhm.
Yeah. So when we are living in paradise time, I mean, that's I'm curious to find out if the paradise time, if they had hospital.
No,
I think there was no need for it, you know.
How about doctor?
no, because it was already hospitable.
It was very hospitable, everything around us. It was created for us, this planet, in that way that we find it at the moment that we were created. So, you know, if you are born in ice time and you are the first human being and you are dropped somewhere north of Norway, I mean, come on, you know, like, give me a break, yeah? I mean, you must have been living into one place what is agreeable, where you don't need all this shit that we are having around us today in order to try to have a nice life. No,
Agriculture.
yeah, no, every second house today is a doctor's place or a psychologist's place or a psychiater place or some kind of support service for the human being house. You know, we full. You know, yeah. So if you hate people, you throw bombs on their hospital.
But then we
Or
have
damn their water.
hospitality. Like in Yesiveri, we have hospitality that you welcome your guests.
Of course.
Yeah.
So hus means house, and P is one circle, so it's some way of living in one house, probably around one fire. So you have one house in one. If you live in one Savupirti, it's one house of 5 by 5 meter, and you are living there with 24 people, 12 men and 12 women, and you sit around one fire, and in the above the fire is one hole in the roof, so the smoke can go out. When the men are using the fire, the women are out. And when the women are using the fire, the men are out. But we could be also together in that house and stay there over the night and sleep.
And tall, tall, to talk. Talk.
Of course. So the talking before you did in one circle, because if you have no audience, there is nothing to talk about.
Hospital. Wow. That's so cool.
So hospital, yeah.
Mm.
So of course it comes from this hospitable and this kind of association. It has nothing to do with the sick people program, which is something that starts to occur when we kind of lost it all. Yeah, so we come into one period in the history where we needed much more knowledge of that what was in the nature, so that we could get kind of a support system from the nature for our health. So before ice time, we take drops from ourselves. Yeah, so this drop taking is something what is very old. It must be from paradise time, this drop taking, where we take drops from ourselves. But now this nature provides us with an enormous variety of plant and stuff, bust from the trees and roots in the earth. And there it has all kinds of propensities which you can take out from these plants, from these trees, from these roots, and you can make one mixture from that called tincture, and this kind of drops can assist you in some kind of problem what you can have. Oh yeah. This knowledge was very well existing in the ladies department of these two departments we had before. We have one masculine department and department, and we have one feminine department. Yeah, so they are drinking their magla and we are drinking our sperm. So it's just like in the nature, you have this division of all kind of thing that is related to one understanding based on nature, in which you, the Öde, create for us the Ragnarök. The Öde make that the axis of the earth shifted to that position where we are today. But the nature also gives us alternative possibility in that moment that we could not take any more enough power out of the sperm and the magla, because the atmosphere has been changing completely from the situation that we had before ice time and the situation that we have under ice time. So now it was not anymore sufficient just to take drops from yourself or from your friends or colleague or people you live with in the different ringland, according to all kind of norm and of course very abstruse images that we can relate to such a thing, because we don't know anything about that, because we are having normal sexual life, you know, and normal sexual life is very different from natural sexual life of what people had before. So before they did not have this kind of problem what we have either, and now the nature provides us with all kind of material by which we could take in enough protein and vitamin from the nature, which we didn't need in the paradise time. So when ice time comes, we start to eat animal. We start to eat meat and we start to eat fish, and we start to take all this thing from the tree that before was only there for our pleasure, because you could always pick the banana out of the tree and the papaya and ananas or pineapple as they call them in America or in England. Like, you know, we have all this berry, we have all this stuff that have always been into existence on this planet, with the exception of the new ones that came under the ice time. Yeah, so all animal was also depending on all this material that the nature provided. But if we go before ice time and we were drinking from ourselves, or we had all this system, what is so nicely described in Bock Saga, of how the people were living before ice time. Yeah, and this we can only unlock with that key of the sound system in root and waan, and we can give it further on in English. So it is touching so many levels, these aspects, when we go in the sound, that you start to think about one world that is completely different than this world that we are living in today. Completely different, you know.
Yeah.
And we are today living in one world which is full of problems. Full and full of
Overfull.
problems. Sorry?
Overfull, flooding over.
Yeah. It's flooding. It's flooding everywhere. You know?
Yes.
Overflowda. Yeah. Overflowda. Now, yeah, what is that overflowing that we had from before? Yeah. What? When it's raining, it's first you have droppa. First it's dripping. Yeah. Then the droppa come together. They start to rinna. It becomes like a couple of drops. So now drops become heavy. So it starts to run, to rinna. No? And then when you get much water, how did it go? Droppa, rinna, ströma. I miss one, I think. Ströma, it's like you get a stream. You know, it becomes water, so you get stream. Yeah, and then in the end, it's like in the ladies' climax, it flirta, it flow out. Yeah, it shoots out. It's overflowing. Yeah. So this is one aspect in the sexuality of the ladies' department, what we are not educated with. So in the last thousand of years, there is not all lady who can experience this kind of flirta, this kind of flood coming out from their genitals that gives them the possibility to very easily take out magla in larger quantity than just this little bit, which they can also take, but they could have like big quantities of magla coming out from their system. So they need big jars to fill them, you know? Yeah, if you do that with sperm, man, how many men do you need to fill up? You know, like we men, we are very, very little in our discharge of sperm. Yeah, but if you go before ice time, I understood from all the stories what I heard that we were much more viril. So and the man and the woman, we was much more viril because we had all kind of practice and obligation that we were living through day by day. You know?
Mm.
Yeah, now to go in
You
all,
are what you eat.
you are what you eat, correct.
We well, also, they say that men's sperm counts today is 50% of what it was 40 years ago.
Yeah, I know
But
that.
that's when they start measuring it,
Yeah,
right?
but
And what if they go 40 years before that? Was it less? And 40
no,
years before that, was it less? How
no.
much less was it 5,000 years ago? Or
No,
more, was it?
there is
Or
one
how much
research.
more?
There is one research system on the planet that has been keeping track of that, and that is in university in Copenhagen. And I think they have been doing that for the last 120 years.
Hmm.
Yeah, because 120 years, 140 years ago, we are creating basically for everybody the schooling system. But 140 years ago, we had more taboo than what we have today. So there was many things people could never talk about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now all of this only changed in the last 60, 60, 70 years.
Yeah, there was a big change then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's what I call these horrible people who create this, what you call it, this revolution, sexual revolution. This sexual revolution has been creating all kinds of freedom for the people to do that what they do today, what is considered normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So normal sexual life. Yeah, he was very good in describing the normal sexual life and comparing it to natural sexual life from the heathen time, because the heathen time we were still living our natural sexual life. But the minute the heathen time become rotted out, in the same time, oh yeah, we know all the stories of the religion in relation to the sexuality of the human being. No? Yeah, the first thing was that it was bad, but you need to do it because otherwise you don't get next generation.
Yeah.
And so it was like very, you know, yeah.
Got to ration them genes.
No, yeah,
Generation. Gene ration.
Yeah, you have to adjust everything.
Raw. Rot, shun. What's the kind of the TION, SION kind of word say in English? What is that? You know, we have so many ways of saying that. You know, so many words that end in
Shun. Shun. Intuition. Intuition. Shun. Now, if you take
discussion.
I must find
discussion.
Yeah. Discuss. Yeah, you can also divide by
Discuss.
Yun and by shun. So if you take the S part inside, it's something that has to do with S, with sun. And this S is usually related in this kind of word to pirouette family, from where the whole thing starts. So everything starts from sun, or those characters that represent the sun. And now that information and everything what comes from this group is meant for the Yun, which are the largest part of the population. Yeah, so this pirouette, rousette, jalet and kalet, you can see them as the bureaucracy who have an obligation towards this Yun, who are the grandchildren of the Jarl. Yeah. Now
the
why?
Johns.
Why? No, from the Jarl. So why, as a Jarl, the word or the sound Jarl is also within Yun. If you talk about the Yun people, you talk about the trail people. So it's another word for the trail people is Yun. So there is already Jarl inside in this Yun. Yeah, Oertjernan, Oeden, and or Oorsprung, and Jarl. If you go in the uh, in the Finnish language, in the
It
root.
makes me think of Johan's name, like John, Jon, Johan.
That is where it comes from. Johan has also Jarl inside. So anyway, everybody who is trail, which is like the biggest percentage of the people on the planet, you know, everywhere, the mass of the people are the trail. The mass are the people, but they get their information from this pyramidal structure that is creating all of them.
Sun. The shun. Shun. So it'd be like sun.
Shun.
Sun, shun.
Shun has also another meaning in root. So it's Yun is with Oorsprung in Baan language, but it is with ring in root language. So when you talk about Yun, it's with U. But now we have also Shun, which is also the word for the number 7. Shun. Shun means the 7. So there is also 7 in this ending of many, many words that ends on iun or shun or tiun. There's also tiu in there. Tiun. Yeah, so tiun, of course, always is again relating to the tentin tiu. Yeah. Where shun is relating to the 7 daughter, because they are the shun on the female side. Yeah. So you have always this kind of association to this different group aspect.
Yeah, 7.
This different aspect of group of people belonging to this family where originate all this thing of language from.
Wow, Su is 7. Wow, okay.
Yeah, the English language, we again, the I cuts away the J.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's also because we don't listen sound. We are already so convinced of everything that something means because we know how it's written. Yeah, that's what you hear all the time when you go in the street. I know that. I know how it's written. Yeah, but have you also heard how it sounds and what that sound is expressing and meaning? And now the funny thing is that if I take myself as a comical example who try to understand Bock Saga, you find out that you have been listening so much so you can start to think in sound and not anymore in black letter on white paper. Yeah, you take out completely this written book language out of your brain, and now you start just to listen to sound. And now you see that we talk about, yeah, we must always try to keep the things small, keep the subject small. Now, if you put,
Sound is, by the way, also sound.
sorry,
Sound is sa to say, and then und, which has to do with Oden and Nordstern and the
sound, yeah, sound, correct, yeah,
Mm.
soundy,
sound.
soundy is funny, eh, soundy. Hyvä soundi. Tää on tosi hyvä soundi. So soundi is a little bit like sauna solmu, no? Yeah,
Yeah, it goes there.
it goes there, yeah. Soundi is you, yeah.
Soundi.
So it's like sauna. It's not so different. Yeah, so the sauna, it is when you take the na, as an as noortjana, from your own spur. That is sauna. Yeah, but saundi,
Yeah.
that's something you get from your surrounding, must be, not from yourself. You get it from your surrounding. Soundi.
But you get it from your sound
Of
when you
course,
say
of course,
also,
of course, that's what it
but you hear
relates
it
to.
from your surrounding.
Yeah? That is what it relates to, but in a wider sense, sauna is you're relating to sauna solmu.
Yeah.
The soundi is something that comes from outside.
Sound, yeah.
Yeah, and of course we create our own sound also based on that what we get from outside. It's always inside, outside, outside, inside. This kind of program.
But it's like if you say that Frey get his sound from the wooden, in a way, then it's sound.
Yeah.
It's like Wooden said this, and now I'm saying
Yeah.
this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, basically it is. Of course, we get it from Wooden because we don't get the sound from ourselves. We are created by Wooden, and Wooden has been giving us one body with one system called throat, what can produce the sounds that we can produce. Yeah, so the sounds we are producing from that moment that we are being born, the minute you come out from the system of the lady, you know, when she has been pregnant and now you are coming out, and now you come out, you are still on this tube that is connected from your mother to your navel. Yeah. And you get your oxygen through this tube. Now, the minute you cut this tube, hey, this kid has to take in air through the mouth because it's not anymore fed by oxygen coming through this tube or via the blood or into the body, you know. So the first thing you do is to make sound.
Yeah.
Now, if you are, today they grab this, or before they did anyway, they grab this baby by the feet and smash it on the buttocks, and then it starts to cry. So it's breathing. No, maybe there's a good reason why they do this, but you know, there's of course many discussion about what is the natural way to be born. What is the natural way to be born, you know? And there seems to be different people with different idea about that kind of thing. Yeah. So because it's the first moment that you are brought into the world, which is also very decisive whether that becomes like whether that is like yeah, for the woman it can be also one traumatic experience to go through this whole procedure, no? Because it looks quite heavy, and we know that you have to press out this baby from your pussy, but now this kind of thing we can today solve with the problem of the cesarean. You just make the cut in the stomach and you take out this baby, you sew the whole thing together, and a good night and goodbye. Yeah, but it is the same with the taking in. If you take the baby, it is 100% dependent on air, that it breathes in air. Yeah, so there it starts. There is the first air. But now she needs another air, this baby or he, and that air is coming from mother's milk. And now in the mother's milk is all the ingredient what the baby needs in order to build up its immune system. Now then you look to this what we do today. First they make the cesarean and take this baby out from that way. Yeah. Because, it's so difficult to let it come out via the pussy. I'm just generalizing now. It's not nothing personal. But you see the difference between being born naturally and being born artificially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
yes, there's a lot of that. Even all the microbiotics, the microbiome of the birth canal is essential for the baby to get all of the build its not immune system, but its its microcellular health, get all that soul cell in there.
It's infected with all these different liquids that it's passing through. Yeah. So it's coming out in this part of the body. Yeah. So if you don't come through the birth channel naturally, it means that it's something missing in the immune system of the kid that is being born. Now it's the same with the mother's milk. The mother's milk is then adding on to this being born naturally to all this different material that is in the mother's milk that is building up the immune system of the baby. Now, if you straight away put it one piece of plastic in its mouth and take this kind of milk powder milk as a surrogate to mother's milk, now I go straight in the extreme, no?
Yeah,
because that is what is happening in many places. Yeah, because
but this is today. Giving birth is very people are by themselves, but in Saga it would be the whole community having babies around the same time, so it's easier. It takes the village, it takes a village, they always say, right? And then also you can use nanny goats as well, so the baby can have even more and more milk to grow bigger and bigger. I had a question about we were talking about sound, and it just made me think of there's, when you say sound as a noun, it is you're making the sound, right? But also sound is also something that's good, like you can say something that's that's a sound argument you made, or it's a good argument, it makes sense, it's or you have sound money, money that's tangible, that makes a sound when you tap it or something like that. Or but there's these, you have an adjective, or you can sound off, which is a verb, and then you have the noun sound. So you get these kind of different aspects of this concept of sound. How is that to be interpreted using the sound system? With verbs, nouns, and adjectives.
But that then can change also because of language. Like we have to translate the different things in a way.
You know, that is this problem with, I think that is the problem with this modern way of looking at languages. You know, it's like language for us is like a car or a motorcycle. You know, so now you start to give all kind of name to all kind of part of this car or this motorcycle, and now it belongs to either this group or that group or that group or that group, where you are basically dissolving the language into its aspects, but you don't get yeah, but they tell you that from that you get an understanding of the whole, but I am not so sure, you know, because you don't learn in that way. That is a typical school way of learning. But one person that learns its language from listening to other people builds a brain in a totally different way that when you go to school and you start to divide the language in verbs and adjectives and nouns and all this kind of thing, you know. I think, you know, we don't realize what our modern education has been doing to us people. You know, we people don't realize that before 1870, 1890, depending on where you live, and also in many cases, depending whether you were a man or a woman, everything you know you have been getting from other people through your ears. Everything. And of course, you see with your eyes, so the seeing with your eyes can make you question. You can question things. But everything you know, you get via your ears. Now, 1870, 1890, we all go to school. So we throw out the grandparents because we know that they don't know anything. And now you go to school and you become clever because you've been to school. The problem is that now you are listening to one teacher who learns you how to read and how to write. So for that you have to listen to the teacher.
So like in the word sund, yeah, you have the noun, which means like a strait or a canal or a channel, or you know, the neck of a river, or the birth canal, right? Where the sound, you know, after you come out of the birth canal, you make a sound. I lived in Washington State for a long time, and I lived in an area called Puget Sound, and it's like this big water area with lots of channels and waterways, estuaries. But then you also have sund as an adjective. So it's the same word in Swedish, and it's sound, healthy, sane, wholesome.
Yeah, so it's derived from this root word sund.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they are.
And then there's sund. Well, there's sund, and then there's sund, which means to like, I don't know, to like probe. It says probe. I don't know what. Sound sunde.
Sonde, yeah.
Sunde.
Yeah, zonde. Zonde you can translate to sin in Dutch, but a zonde, it's also that thing what they stuff into your veins or into your ass in order to look what kind
Probe.
of you have growing on your intestines, or if you have colon cancer or stomach cancer or I don't know what kind of shit.
Yes, it says probe. So
now you must see that language is going through an evolution from the time of industrialization. Yeah? So before industrialization, we don't have all this stuff that we have today. So of course, we are nitpicking on the dictionary in order to give a name to some piece of equipment that probably could have something to do with that what it originally meant. But now in Dutch, zonde, which is the name for this thing they stick up your ass to look if you have something wrong there, that name
That's what the aliens do at night.
That name we get that name we get from the church, because zonde by us means sin. So like medicine, so it must have something to do. You have been sinning, so now if you want medicine, so now you know, it's like confusion. No, this is maybe the wrong example, but if you now take this word zonde, one zonde is with S, which is this thing that they put up, they can look inside you, and this other one is written with a Z, but they sound quite same. So, you know, in one way you are thinking zonde, zonde. Yeah, they put you, they are there to help you, you know. But it's anyway zonde. It's anyway from origin meaning something to do, or not from origin, but from the Catholic time, zonde become one thing associated with sinning. And now this other zonde has something to do with trying to help you with something that fucked up in your life. But what actually fucked, if you now go to what you say about Sund, and it relates to one river or estuary or something, something to do with the geography of the water near the land. Yeah,
I'm hearing a masculine and a feminine here.
Yeah, but if you now think more holistic, and you see that many of these words, what we are using today, they are like consequence of words that we have been having in the past with a totally different association.
Yeah, Sund is with Ursprung, that's the water thing, but Synd, which is the sin, has the Ö, which is the feminine, as Syn is then to see. When you have sin, you have Syn, a vision. So with the Syn, you see what's up in a hole. All right.
I think I made a big mistake by talking about this kind of thing again, you know. Like, there is the thing what make that we can create much confusion when you are starting to look thing from the dictionary. Because you get blasted by so many words. So now you start in your way of thinking to connect all these things, which you actually can't, because they have nothing to do with the subject of that moment when you take one specific word out of that whole list of different meaning that come out of what they call a stem word. Yeah, that is actually where I wanted to go. You have stem words out of which are built all other words. Yeah, but you don't learn them from the dictionary. You didn't learn anything from one dictionary. You learn out of the spoken language. But the problem is we grow up with dictionary, so we don't know any better than starting to look in dictionary. But in dictionary you get thrown thousands of words in the same time, but now you miss out on the story of how we come to this. If you know how you come to this, start with the root word. It's like it's like you interpret one language. You interpret Finnish, you can basically only do it from understanding the root. If you don't understanding the root, you are missing out on the basic of the Van language, because the root which is the basic of the Van language. So you have many people who only think according to Van, because they don't allow this root thing to come in. Because they don't allow it, they are creating all kind of association in their brain that have nothing to do with the subject.
Mm.
Many times they can be right also if the word is very simple. Like if you know poo, yeah, poo means tree in one language, but poo is P and P and U means Udenspole. Now Udenspole has a completely different meaning as tree.
Yes.
Yeah, so poo is different from poo. But of course, poo is coming out of Udenspole.
The family tree.
The basis is, yeah, so the family tree is coming out of Udenspole. But a tree is completely different as Udenspole. Of course, in the symbolic, it has to do with each other. But only in the symbolic. So all name we give to everything in the nature, they are symbolical names. Yeah. So if you talk about Eek Ollon, yeah, Eek Ollon is different from that Ollon that you have in the top of your Udenspole. Yeah, one is the fruit of the oak tree. Yeah, but the other one is this glans that is this red helmet, what you get when prick is standing, no? Or when you move the foreskin back. So they are two different things, but one is the associative trip to one symbolic thing, and the other one is the real thing.
Ecology. Ecology. Ecology.
Ecology.
Ecologiek. Or economic.
Yes, economic. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Economy officially or originally must have something to do with the creation of people, not with the creation of money.
The me.
No, yeah, economy. The economy has to do with the bureaucracy of the number of people that is born on the planet. No, that was something that they was doing there in Tuna. No? Yeah, I mean, anyway, in Udenma was some kind of course, when they are putting out the sperm to the egg of the lady and the rabi is going out, and of course they want to know where it has been going. Because where it has been going, you also know, you know many things from that. You know, oh, we have to stop to make this rabi have to stop to make too many jarl lady pregnant, because otherwise we get overpopulation in the ringland. You know, so you have, of course, you have to know what is happening.
Yeah.
You are making children, and out of this Rabi is created Yal, and out of this Yal is created Kar, and out of this Kar is being created Trail. So in order to keep track on that, you need one bureaucracy, which of course must be by the head who start and continues that program. So of course you must get information back from all these different ringlands around the planet to Hoedenma in order that you can keep one bureaucracy of what the fuck is happening. Yeah? Now I can see that in the time that I live, that nobody keep track of this bureaucracy. They only say that we become more and more and more every year. So when I arrived in India in 1974, there was 430 million people living in India. And when I go today to India, there is 1,430 million people living in India within my lifetime. Yeah, or within 50 years of my lifetime, I can say like that. within 50 years of my lifetime, according to the statistic, the population of India went from 430 million to 1,430 million people. So today they are the biggest amount of people on the planet. Where in 1974 it was the Chinese who was having the majority of the people there. But if you know that there is in 50 years coming 1 billion people, 1 milliard people more in your country, you also must have organization in order to take care of that amount of people. And there nobody give a flying fuck.
Yeah. But then again, on the other side, you cut off and limit the families cause other things.
One more time, you are.
Like if you start to limit that everybody can just have one child, that has consequences in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Because everything
And
is not.
there's no children making system. It's just it's paired. It's always just pairing to any two people, you know. And yeah, and what they were doing with that policy, I'm sure everyone kind of knows this, but you know, they want a boy, and so
Yeah,
but I can only have one, and if I can't have a boy, then what do I do with this daughter? You know, and then now you're limiting anyway. It's pretty messed up.
That's it. You know, we come to live in the time where they say the sky is the limit. That's why all these people who have this enormous amount of over money is building rockets and to go in the sky, you know? Yeah, because the sky is the limit. Yeah, so of course you have to first acquire a lot of hundreds of billions of trillions in order to be able to do such a thing, you know. In the meantime, people are starving. Half of the people on the planet are starving because there is people who say that the sky is the limit in their economic way of thinking, you know.
That's why we have Mars, so we can go there.
How many can go? How many can they fit in the rocket of all these 8 billion who are living now on the planet? So, you know, in the next 50 years. Yeah? So if we are living in this kind of thinking of exponential growth, basically it ends that we all make suicide if we go through the shortcut. Yeah, because either you have no water anymore, the thing what we started the program with, yeah, you don't have food anymore, or you don't have this anymore and that anymore, and the nature is the only one who is stopping us to say, hey, we reached the limit. So of course then they create the climate problem, yeah, and now we have to go back to the klimaat. What was meaning klimaat originally? What is the origin of klimaat? It's a word that is spoken by people. So klimaat must be something from before ice time, yeah, or the climate. Yeah, it's from
It's
before.
like atmosphere.
Sorry?
Like atmosphere. Atmosphere has always been, in a way. It goes a bit offline.
No. I try to catch the word what you say.
Atmosphere.
Atmosphere. Very good. Yeah. So we have an atmosphere and we can create atmosphere.
Yeah.
And best atmosphere is when you atmos to the sphere.
There is moose there.
The atmosphere. Yeah, so the atmosphere is created by the introduction of nature, of the green in the nature, and expanding it all over this ball. Because when this earth was created, there was no green. It's the green has been coming in the time, and which create the atmosphere. So in the beginning it was a barren rock, yeah, which was cooling off, and the cooling off of that rock gave the possibility for life to develop in the ocean. So that our atmosphere is something what become. It's a becoming. Just like one child in the stomach of the mama it is becoming. Yeah, and one day it has to cut the umbilical cord in order to breathe independently by itself. Now, for that you must have atmosphere. But then if you have a couple of steelwork next to your house and you live on the end of the runway of the airport in Amsterdam between two highways, 6, 8 lanes, I'm sure you live in a different atmosphere as when you live on the beach in Goa or somewhere else on the planet. You know? Yeah. So the atmosphere is something that you are born into. And you can be born in good atmosphere and you can be born in bad atmosphere. And it's basically the choice of the people. But it's not today the choice of the people. It's the other ones and the history that's deciding that for us. So that makes to be part of my herd that I born in Amsterdam, but I grow up next to the steelworks. Yeah, and I was lucky to get out and hang out on the beach in different places on the planet. But there is many people here who at this moment are complaining that they all get cancer from the steelwork. Yeah, fortunately I've been long enough away from here and my immune system is quite good, so I'm not so afraid for the smoke coming out of the chimney. You know? Yeah, that's another department. Yeah, smoke is bad for you. Yeah, of course. Depends what kind of smoke. It is always has to do with the quality of the smoke, because we have been living with smoke from the beginning of the human being up to 1890. Yeah, 1890 we throw out the fire from the house and we start to get coal and gas and electric and a microwave and you know all the shit what we get from the modern time. Yeah, so now nobody have any more smoke in the house. But what do we also get 1880, 1890? We get Marlboro Man. Yeah, because we have no smoke. So they start to smoke cigarette like a crazy because there seems to be some kind of need for people to have smoke and to get smoke inside. So from origin, smoking is not bad for you. But of course, when you have this kind of automobile exhaust pipe from where you get your smoke. Uh, of course, it is a different quality than when you live around one wood fire or you smoke one pipe of what you like to smoke. No? Whether that's tupaka or if it's bomshankar or whatever it is. No? Yeah, it can't be bad for us. They only tell us that it's bad for us because we have been transplanting the natural smoke that we have been having from Frey and Freya in order to live and cook our food since the first Ragnarok, you know, or before we need to make tea, for sure. So without tea you can't live, was the understanding of people from the paradise time. But today we live with smoke from chemical factory, steel factory, car factory, bus factory, aeroplane factory, factory.
It depends on what you burn.
Of course, it depends on what you burn. That decides the quality of the smoke around you. Yeah. So if we had good atmosphere in paradise time, I know for sure that they were smoking in paradise time.
What is mos in atmosphere?
Yeah, there is moose.
Yeah, what is that?
Moose is another word for magla, or one of the aspects of magla.
Moose is like mashed potatoes, is potatis moose.
Also, yeah, you have apple moose.
Mosaic?
Huh?
Mosaic? Mosaic? You said like mashed potatoes. It's like mushing together.
Yeah, it's like
when you have mashed together, that's moose.
Mos, mash, mosh, and then you have mosaic.
How do you call?
Which is like a whole bunch of different pictures put together, mashed together, a mosaic.
how do you call in English this ground up apple? What you can get from one jar and you put it as a side dish.
Applesauce.
Sorry?
Applesauce. But you say
Oh.
mashed up apples. You know,
I-
mashed apples is smashed apples. Mash, moss, moose, moose,
But
smoosh,
what
atmosphere.
what is written on the etiquette when you buy one glass jar of that in the supermarket?
Applesauce.
Apple sauce. So you call it sauce.
Yeah.
Okay. That's funny.
Mhm.
Because sauce relates to troll sauce. So the troll are the 10 tin TU, they are the big troll. They are the troll car, the 10 tin TU, the 10 brother in between. So we talk about hex, moose, and troll sauce. Yeah, so
And this,
you can take in sauce as masculine and you take in moose as feminine. But if you take it from the nature, it is nice for
moss.
both of us. Apple mousse or apple sauce can both man and woman eat. But
And
before,
moss.
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 yeah,
Like the green algae moss.
that's again another one. That's another mousse.
Yeah. That's
Because,
mossa.
huh?
That's
Mossa,
mossa.
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 Yeah. Now we have that also. We also use mos in Dutch, M, and then ring, o, or in root u, but in Dutch o.
Most. The
The
most.
English is in between. Yeah, in England you can have the ring as o, and you can have it as u. Yes, then you put two ring, it's u, and you put one ring, it's o. Yeah,
Almost.
or you can have like
Almost.
to be
Almost.
or
All
to
gay.
or going. So when it's going, it's o, and when it is to be, it's u. Yeah, but in root it's consequent ring u, and in except depends again on the letters that come behind it. That's why we talk about Bock Saga and not about Bocksaga. So Bock Saga is very different than Bock Saga.
In Latin we have your primos and primas. Primos and primas. I think it's cousin. Or but people say like if you're friendly with someone, kind of like amigo, it would be like primo. Primo.
But primo is prima. It has to do with the one who is first.
Yeah.
You have a lot of English words with pre.
Yeah. Primary.
No, but this is what I mean, you know, like we have always to be careful. It's good that we do this kind of thing. We have to try and not make the thing larger than it is, because when you keep it small, you keep track of what we talk about. Otherwise we are like pinball wizard. We become pinball wizard, and we are only confusing an audience. Because
Yeah.
you know we are a little bit used to talk about this kind of thing. So of course we can play. I understand very well that we can play, but it is very difficult to come to any kind of conclusion in this pinball wizard program. You don't come to any conclusion. You are just going from subject to subject to subject to subject to subject, and we are putting in too much information that basically have nothing to do with the subject.
Well, we said atmosphere. Atmosphere.
Yeah. So, okay, you take one word in English, you take atmosphere, and now you see what is it in root. Yeah? Now, then you come to moose. There's change. It's not anymore moss, it's moose.
Moose. Yeah.
So moss is now your green program on the stone. after it has been raining a lot, then it comes greenery on the stone. So of course it has to do with it. But it's a question about atmosphere. Sphere is that what is sphere, what is surrounding the globe so that we can breathe in from the good atmosphere.
The sphere.
Huh?
Sphere.
Yeah, sphere, correct. Yeah. It's the sphere around. So the atmosphere is that sphere that has been added.
But this is the thing I was saying earlier, because now we have a verb of, well, it's like mashing, like pushing together, like mosaic, right? And then you also have the animal, which is, or the plant, the moss, the moose, right? The musa. What was it, musa? So,
but like in root,
both meanings in play at all times, is what I'm wondering.
The mash is the moose, to mash is the musa, and the moss is mossa. There is like single S, double S, and then the adding of the A. There's like, in that language they become pretty different, but then in English you can have the same sounds, because then you have to take the association of the word in some way.
So forget English, but like
No, it's very important. We need English, man. Come on, this is not the problem. I don't want. I'm not attacking on anything. Don't misunderstand me. What I'm trying to say is that we have to be careful that when you start to play like this, and you don't have a surrounding around you that speaks root and knows the correct pronunciation, and you don't have van, and you don't have the correct pronunciation, because you must have the correct pronunciation in order to be able to take out the meaning. Now, I have a little bit root, and I'm used to it because I've been spending so much time up there, so I'm kind of used to it. And the same with Waan. I can't speak Waan. I can speak a little bit Waan. I can get by. But don't put any newspaper in front of my nose with this bureaucrat language inside. I'm totally lost. When Eeyore is speaking Waan, or friends of me that I have been listening to, I understand very well what they say, even when I don't know every word. I can take out the meaning of what they want to say. Yeah, so you don't have to know everything in order to be good in the to be good in Bocksaga, but you have to try to understand that when you make the thing too large, when you go from one meaning to the second meaning to the third meaning, where every time something is missing in root language, like this moss is a very good example. Yeah, so you have moss, which is this green on the stone. Of course, it must come out of this algae program that created the atmosphere and everything where it starts. So out of that, slowly, planet become green, because in the moss it can come one seed from some bird that shit there, and now suddenly there's growing one tree.
And it is what creates most of the oxygen.
Of course. But now in understanding Bocksaga, you then go very quickly, you go from one thing to the next thing to the third thing to the fourth thing, without that we have been really discussing what is moose. We are already in the green of the nature. Now we still don't know when you are in the green of the nature. The green of the nature is a consequence of the word moose that has 100% association, first of all in sound, because it talks about sun, it talks about Uden, and it talks about Måne, moon. Yeah, so Sol and Ud and Måne is moose. Yeah, that's the first thing. The first thing is Sol and Ud and Mo. But now the next thing, moose, comes from the story of the liquid of the lady, because we talk about hex moose. Now then you start not to talk about the trees and everything else. No, we have to go to hex moose. What is hex and what is moose? Now we know already what is moose. Yeah, it's one of the name of the magla, but you have also another word for the magla. Magla has many words. So you can also have seal, yeah, which is S-E-L, which means lager, E, in this case, feminine E, because E can be masculine and E can be feminine, and S meaning solen. So lagen om is solen, yeah, which is seal. Now from that seal, you can go also and do the same thing as what you can do with moss. Yeah, you can go straight away from seal. One seal is one fish. So you straight away move in the whole fish department. So it has to do with ocean, seal. But seal, also in English, seal, yeah, you can also write seal, the same sound, with S-E-A-L, S-A-R-L. Now then it means one seal, something that is closing. Or you can have one finger ring, which is your seal.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to all kind of things that relate to activity that has to do with klimaat. Because with this seal thing, what the lady have is again one aspect that brings you to one life form from paradise time, and not to one understanding. Indirectly it leads to one understanding of the nature that we have around us, but we have to start with the basic. Otherwise that's what I meant when I say when we are losing ourselves in the consequences of these sounds and all the different words existing within the different languages that come out from that. That is very interesting, because you understand that it has to do with this basic association of moose and of seal and of tea, which is another one. Yeah, so you can have tea, stoer. Yeah, so there you get your tea from stoer. But now for this lady to be able to develop this seal, tea, and moose inside as a part of the capacity of their bodily functions, so that their brain get fed with natural info in order to understand the life of the nature around us and our individual life that is depending on our surrounding. And that is what I mean. That when we make it too large, we A, go away from the story, and B, from the deeper understanding of what the sound system is meaning, because we put in too many ingredients in our soup, so it tastes good, but we don't know what the soup consists of anymore. We have no idea. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because there's so
And
many words that like have all the different sounds, but
I know that. Hey, fuck.
but the there's so many ways to plug it in, especially in English, that's when it gets way too big. But if you go back to root, there's only like a couple meanings, right? Like I could probably find 100 different words with the MOS in them, or the sound moss or moose or whatever in English. But when you go to root, it's mosa and mosa. So it's just the two, so it makes it very simple to understand in that way.
Now, if
But
we
then
want,
when those ideas get bigger and bigger, and now we're making new languages to accommodate for all these different ways we can take these old interpretations and old understandings and bring them into new ways of we're living differently, so English language is developed for a different reason. So we need to take these simple concepts and make them, but then it takes away from these simple concepts. We're going farther out. That's kind of what you're saying. I think that's what he's saying. So, you know,
yeah.
I get
also,
it. I get it.
Moose, you can have moo, oos, som. Like there is a lot of small things in even moose itself.
Of course.
And then we have the interpretation of the single letters, which is a depth of itself.
And that is what I mean. Like, you know, I like what you are doing. I like it. You know, like the English Bocksaga side, I find quite comical. You know, it's like really brilliant in many ways. But it is more for. I think it is brilliant for me because I learn many things from that. I learn many things from that. But it is because I have a base, so I can reflect in another way than those people who don't know anything about Bocksaga, but who start to blast their dictionaries full of words and associations and things, and they are moving. Before you know it, they are living in between 1100 and 21st century. So they are in the last 1,000 years, and they are digging up everything that interests them or that they come across of. But I think my job, you know, there is no Eeyore. I can't ask Eeyore anymore. He have to trust a little bit that I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, and I know to a certain percentage what I talk about. I don't know everything. That's for 100% sure. I don't know everything. I also don't want to know because I'm still learning the basics. Yeah, and in the basics, there is already so many worlds and so many universum and so many dimensions and so many things that in order to stay with your feet on the ground and being able to help other people to reach that thing what you are trying to get across, which is the sound system and the meaning of the sound system out of which comes Bocksaga. And of course, Bocksaga is much larger as that little shitty story of which I told the basic, Jim told the basic, Eeyore told the basic, in some 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours of blah blah about Bocksaga, you know. But that is to learn the understanding of Bocksaga, of the sound system. But whole Bocksaga is the history of the human being from before ice time, under ice time, after ice time, up to the year 2024. That's Bocksaga. Also, when Bock family is already gone for 14 years. Yeah, because Bocksaga never finish. Also, when there is no Bock anymore, Bocksaga never finish. But how we cannot tell 100 of million of years of history, you know. So Bocksaga is the most simplistic, basic story that these people have been thinking out to transfer so that other people can learn to understand on what everything that we are doing on this planet is based. Yeah, and from that you get a completely different understanding of history than when you are studying history in the university. Completely different. They are 100%, 180-degree opposite. That's what you get from the book and that's what you get from Bocksaga. Now that might be very disappointing for student of history. You know, if you see it like this. Yeah, of course it is. Because they are talking about things of which they have no idea about. And they can do nothing for that. They can do nothing for that. You know, but what can I do for the fact that I know about Aztec and Maya and Inca and Ooga Booga and Aboriginal and African tribes and Easter Island and Japanese and Russian and India and mythology from here and there. That's very interesting. But it doesn't, I did that already before I hear about Bocksaga. And only to find out that everything what I have been collecting and interpreting according to historical people's history book, whether that is from Plato or from Archimedes or from Pythagoras or from Julius Caesar or from, doesn't matter, man. It's totally Hebrew, Chinese, it's totally uninteresting. Basically, it's very interesting. I'm interested in all these things, but basically it's not interesting because it's anyway based on A, B, C, D, E, F, G and what rolls out of it. Now, of course, we can start to tell